Today on Faith Matters, we have another in our series, Someone You Should Know. This time it's Joe Swanson. I'm Dan Jarms.
And I'm Seth Weber.
And you're listening to Faith Matters, a podcast to help update you on matters of Faith Bible Church, as well as equip you in matters of the Christian faith.
Welcome to the podcast, Joe.
Why, thank you, Seth.
Chris has stepped down, and so I'm going to be filling in for a little bit. So let's get right into it. Let's learn about Joe Swanson. Who is this mysterious man? So why don't you tell us a little bit about your hometown, where you grew up, your history?
I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, on a ranch. So our closest town of any population was probably about 3 hours away. Closest Walmart.
Wow.
3 hours away. So there's more cattle than people in the county that I grew up in. So pretty remote, but it was a great place to grow up and learn how to work, all those good things.
Do you have any fun stories from your time growing up on the farm?
Yes, there's some fun stories. Actually, that's how I got into aviation, was back in the late 70s, early 80s. F4 pilots could fly really low to the ground, especially out in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska. So I was probably 4 or 5, and I saw these jets come treetop level.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So at about 4, I wanted to be a jet pilot.
Wow. So tell me about your educational history.
Grew up in Nebraska, went to public school, went to a one-room schoolhouse.
Oh, cool.
So
classic.
Yeah, classic. Classic education there in a one-room schoolhouse.
Not classic old, but classic.
Yeah. And then graduated high school. I had 2 loves in my life. I wanted to fly fast planes and make lots of money. That's what I wanted to do.
Doesn't seem to have turned out for you.
No. But God got a hold of my heart. And so in senior year, really felt like the Lord was directing me into Moody Aviation, where I could use my love of aviation to glorify Him. So went to Moody in Chicago. That's where I met Christy, my wife. We sang together in the Moody Chorale. We actually stood by each other for a couple years.
Yes. Little known fact, Joe Swanson is also a musician, not just Christy.
That's true.
He just doesn't show us his skills very often.
And then we moved to Tennessee, graduated in 99, and then we served in Mexico for 7 years I was a missionary pilot.
Okay.
But we hosted a lot of missionaries, and then I'd fly doctors, dentists, doing the missionary pilot thing.
Wow. Okay. So you said you met Christy at Moody. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and who's in your family now and sort of how that all developed over time?
You bet. We have 5 wonderful children through the blessing of adoption. And so our oldest is turning 18, Lily, and then Kylie is 14. Ona is...
We're putting you on the spot here. Got to try to remember all the ages.
I know. She's 11, and Evie is 9, and Henry is 8, and they are a joy and a blessing to us. So I love being a husband and a dad.
Now, what about pets?
What about them?
What pets are part of your family?
So we have about 30 chickens, if you consider them pets.
Oh, definitely part of the family.
Okay, yeah. Well, my kids love them. So we have 1 inside cat, 2 outside cats or barn cats.
Okay.
And then we have 1 dog.
How do the 2 different groups of cats feel? Do they feel like there's some favoritism going on?
There's a little bit. Yeah, the barn cats are kind of upset at the house cat. they kind of give him a bad look.
That's funny. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up at Faith Bible Church.
So we're in Mexico, and it's awesome. We love the ministry. Everything's going wonderful. And then there started to be a lot of cartel violence where we were at in northern Mexico. We had a lot of shootouts in our neighborhood. It just became very unsafe. And so the government closed all the airstrips that I was using to fly missionaries out there. So Chrissy and I were sitting on the patio, and it was a beautiful December day in northern Mexico, and we were looking at each other and said, it's too early to retire. Like we can't keep doing this. This has got to change, because there was just nothing for us to do in Mexico. So the Lord, through our sending church in Texas, they recommended that we move to Spokane, Washington. I didn't even know where Spokane, Washington was. But on the guidance of our elders from our sending church, we came up here, went on loan to Moody Aviation, and so instructed for a time, and then transitioned into biblical counseling starting in 2013.
Okay.
So started pursuing my Master of Arts in Biblical Counseling and finished that in 2017. And just the Lord just kind of changed my passion from aviation into more of being part of building up the church through biblical counseling, which I loved.
And were you at Faith Bible Church since that time, or did you guys go somewhere else here for a little bit first?
So in 2009, we came here for the first time and really enjoyed the church. And we were asking around about other churches because we were in the valley.
Oh, okay.
And they said, well, Christ Our Hope is just right down the road from you. So I thought, well, there you go. So we started going to Christ Our Hope for a number of years, I think right around 6 or 7, and then went to his place in Post Falls for a couple years. And then we were in Kyrgyzstan. And then when we came back from Kyrgyzstan...
Whoa, jump back there.
Sorry.
You made a big leap there.
Yeah.
We went to Kyrgyzstan. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we were helping a friend at his place, church. And then we, through a process of wanting to go to a more of an unchurched region, Central Asia, we had good friends that were Mexican missionaries that wanted to go to the same area. So we partnered with them, and we would be their support as well as just getting the gospel to Central Asia.
Okay.
So we moved there in 2018, and it didn't quite exactly go as planned.
Okay.
So when we came back, we were homeless because we had rented out our house to some Moody instructors. So we didn't have a place to be.
Okay.
So we went and stayed at the Crossover Parsonage there on the north side, and we were looking for a place to live. And then the house came up in Chattaroy that we really felt like the Lord was directing us into. So we moved to Chattaroy, and then while we were in Chattaroy, we were looking at, we're not going to be able to go to his place anymore because of the distance, but Faith Bible Church has always been a part of our DNA, so we thought it'd be a great opportunity to go to FBC. So we started going in 2019.
Okay.
I think is the date.
Okay. So you came here in 2019, and then you quickly got involved. Tell us about sort of how you've been involved here at Faith in the past and what you're doing now.
So when I was pursuing my degree in biblical counseling, I was working with Brian. And so he's been a huge part in just helping me get my ACBC certification, as well as giving me opportunities to use my counseling. So I was counseling out of Faith Bible Church for a number of years. And then Chrissy's been a part of Discovery as well, and the music ministry at Faith for a number of years as well. And then in 21, post-pandemic, I had a great cup of coffee with Dan Charms, and I said, I would like to serve in some type of family ministry. So it kind of started there and then worked into the children's ministry director role that I have currently.
Tell me about your involvement in children's ministry and like sort of your heart for why that's something you really love to participate in and help lead in the church.
It's a great question. And I think one that is surprising to me is that I love kids. And I never realized that about myself.
Even though you have 5?
Well, but then I started thinking about, we've adopted 5 kids.
Yeah.
And it takes a certain amount of dedication or just a certain amount of oomph to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm realizing, I like kids. I love seeing the light bulb come on. I love interacting with them. Just the joy of a child.
So having kids helped you to realize you loved kids.
Yes, having kids helped me realize that I should be in children's ministry.
Nice.
And that my favorite age is 3rd to 5th grade.
Very fun.
I think that's a great age.
All your kids who are older than that are like, dang it, Dad doesn't love us anymore.
I still love you, children. One thing that I think that I've learned as far as being a dad, the best thing that I can do is when I talk to my children about how I love them is a positional love. I love them. I love Henry because he's my son. I love my girls because they're my daughters.
Yeah.
Not because they're beautiful, not because Henry plays baseball or do all these things. I solely love them because they are my son and my daughters.
Yeah.
And I think that has been an important thing that I've tried to help them understand.
That's really good. Joe, what is God teaching you right now?
We have a full plate with family and ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is teaching me his faithfulness through different the ups and downs that go with raising 5 kids. He has just continued to prove himself faithful. And I know that sounds like the Sunday school answer, but it's true.
Sunday school's got it right.
Hey, they do. They do.
They do. So how can the church be praying for you right now?
I think just that I would serve my family well as a godly husband that would be transparent and be an accurate reflection of Christ to my family, not just on Sunday or not just on Wednesday or ministry events, but that my kids would see and my wife would see the real deal is at home as well in church.
All right. We're doing something new. This is called the speed round, okay? So, cue the music. So, we're going to go through a number of things here real quick, and you got to give me your first answer, even if it's not the most accurate answer. You just got to go fast, okay? You ready?
Okay.
Okay. Favorite book besides the Bible?
Probably Lord of the Rings.
Favorite movie?
Lord of the Rings.
Well, there you go. Best surprise gift you've ever gotten?
When I graduated Moody, I got a cell phone, my first cell phone from my mother-in-law. It was a flip phone.
Nice. If you didn't have to sleep at night, what would you do with all the extra time?
Something in the shop, build something, make something, help develop my property somehow.
Nice. Okay, and this question is special just for you.
Okay.
Best way to cook a steak?
Okay, best way to cook a steak is on a Blackstone, 500-degree heat. You put butter on there.
On the Blackstone or on the steak?
On the Blackstone.
Okay.
And then some salt and pepper, and you keep it at 500 degrees, cook it for 5 to 8 minutes, flip it, and with more butter, let the butter caramelize, salt and pepper, and then take it off like about 133 degrees.
Okay. Nice.
That's a good steak.
Now you have to have me over and let me try it.
Perfect.
Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Thanks, Seth.